many of these swatting attacks seem to stem from a single person or group.
You serious?
Law enforcement is responding with their weapons, and people think it's the real thing. Hi, my name is Marc Drouinaud Jr., and there are 90 false reports of school shootings spanning over 16 different states. Boy, these hackers are busy. Today I'm going to go over why and how that is happening. We're going dark. 16 states collectively suffered more than 90 false reports of school shooters during 3 weeks in September, and many appear to be connected. This story is courtesy of The Wire. At 1:15 p.m. on September 15th, a man who identified himself as Tom Gomez called Sangamon County Central Dispatch in Illinois to report that 2 gunmen had shot a dozen students at Springfield High School. According to the audio of the call obtained by Wired, the man was specific. The caller, breathing heavily, told dispatchers that he was locked inside a math classroom with other students and that the 2 men, both dressed in blue pants and green jackets, were killing students in the adjacent classroom, room 219. Within 5 minutes, Springfield police were at the high school's 2nd floor, descending on the room where they were told a mass murder had occurred. The problem is that, according to police records, Springfield High School doesn't have a room 219. In fact, there was no shooting at all. The dangerous hoax call was one of more than 90 false reports of active shooter incidents at U.S. schools made during the second half of September, Wired found. From Lincoln High in Dallas, Texas, to Lincoln High in Des Moines, Iowa, MacArthur High in Hollywood, Florida, to Hollywood High in Los Angeles, these false reports are part of a disturbing spree of recent swatting incidents that crisscross the United States. While experts who study violence at schools say that false reports of shootings inspire copycats, state and local law enforcement officials say that many of these swatting attacks seem to stem from a single person or group. Through local news reports, police records, and interviews with state and local officials, Wired compiled a list of 92 false reports of school shooting incidents in 16 states that took place from September 13th to 30th. Many of the false reports tracked align with data collected by the Educators School Safety Network. While several impacted states experienced only one such call, others recorded a staggering number, including at least 8 in Ohio, 15 in Virginia, and 17 in Minnesota during the 3-week period. Of the false reports Wired tracked, at least 32 appeared to be linked to a single group or perpetrator. Of the 60 remaining calls, many were made within minutes of one another. Most police departments refused to provide Wired with records or did not respond to multiple requests to confirm details about the contents of the calls. However, so the number of calls linked to a single swatting campaign may be much higher. Superintendent Drew Evans of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, a statewide fusion center tracking these incidents, says that in each of the 17 calls in his state, the caller had a distinct accent and that the calls were made using the same voice over IP technology. There's a lot of different technology that could make it appear to be a single person, but all of the indications we have are that it's either one person or a single entity, Evans says. In the audio of the call, the Sangamon County Central Dispatch, the caller indeed had a discernible accent. In a detailed report of the call for service, the dispatcher noted that the caller was a foreign-speaking male and that the caller was speaking very fast with Middle Eastern accent. Audio of the 2 calls from Ohio that Wired obtained appeared to be one of the same person as the Springfield calls, Tom Gomez, and the caller describes the fake shooting with the nearly identical details about the incident. In total, law enforcement officials from 6 states, Illinois, Iowa, Louisiana, Minnesota, Ohio, and Virginia, all described receiving similar calls. In each call, officials confirmed that a man with a heavy accent called from an out-of-state number and reported a mass casualty attack. In some instances, the caller reported that the shooting occurred in a specific room and number that does not exist and included details about the color of pants, shirts, jackets of the alleged shooters. a prank call in which someone makes swatting is a prank call in which someone makes a false report to emergency services in order to get a SWAT team dispatched to target location. This has been around for more than a decade. The U.S. Department of Justice has used this term swatting since at least 2007. While no one has been seriously injured in the recent surge of swatting attacks at schools, these pranks can be deadly. In 2017, Wichita police shot and killed a 28-year-old man at his front door while responding to a false report. In what appears to be a coincidence, Wichita's North High School was targeted in this recent spree. Bolton High School in Alexandria, Louisiana was one of at least 16 Louisiana schools targeted in September. Lieutenant Lane of the Alexandria Police Department says that the explanation is obvious. I don't think this is some prank. It's terrorism, he says. When someone's trying to terrorize the teachers, parents, all the students, and the community, what else can you call it? School swatting attacks appear to be preying on a familiar American fear that not only are students vulnerable to violence in their classrooms, but that law enforcement is powerless to stop it, sometimes spurring parents to try to do it themselves. This nightmare scenario became all too real during the mass shooting of Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas in late May, where parents rescued their own children as police failed to act. Meanwhile, the threat of school shootings remains all too real. According to research from Everytown USA, a nonprofit that tracks school shootings, the 2021 to 2022 school year saw nearly quadruple the average number of gunfire incidents since 2013. Amanda, director of programs and co-founder of the Educators School Safety Network, works closely with one of the school's districts in Ohio that were targeted by a swatting attack in September. In speaking to a number of people who experienced it, I can tell you that the anxiety and fear, it was real to them for 15 minutes, she says. There's a period of time in these incidents where people are literally running for their lives. Law enforcement is responding with their weapons, and people think it's the real thing. At that particular school, Licking Valley High in Newark, Ohio, an armed man showed up to try to help after hearing about reports of an active shooting. At a school in San Antonio, Texas, that went on lockdown after false reports of shooting, a man reportedly injured his arm trying to break a window to try and rescue students. Educators School Safety Network tracks violent incidents that occurred at high schools. In data Klinger shared with Wired, her organization found that since August there have been 99 false reports in the US. That's more than 7 times the number of incidents her organization tracked during the same time period in 2019. Educators School Safety Net does not include 2020 and 2021 in its data set because it found the data was too abnormal due to virtual shooting. On September 13th, Houston's Heights High School was one of at least 6 Texas schools targeted on that day. It's also the earliest swatting call that Wired found linked to the single person or entity likely responsible for the later attacks, according to local news reports. The caller described the alleged shooting using many of the same details as in other calls that Wired reviewed. For example, he gave a room number on the second floor of the building and described the color of the clothing worn by the suspects. In a video filmed by a student at Heights High and obtained by reporters at television station KHOU, police with their weapons drawn can be seen pushing their way through a classroom door that had been barricaded shut with a table. When an officer asked the students if they had heard any shots fired, the students nervously responded that they hadn't. The video ends with officers marching the entire class down the hall with their hands over their heads to be checked for weapons. That is nuts. Crazy. So what do you think? There has to be a mastermind hacker behind this because he was using a voice over IP technology. So this is, Who is this? How do you think that they're gonna find this person? What method would you use to find this person? I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate you. I love you. You a hack pack. You a hack pack. You a hack pack. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe to this channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Have a great rest of your day.